Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. All right, noting for the record that we're down one board member and the clerk tonight. Clerk will follow up with minutes based on the recording here, so. And just Mark Klingensmith on Zoom and Jim Ninos here in the gallery. Jim, you're a regular guest, but do you have anything specific you'd want to bring up tonight? No?
Just here to be entertained.
All right. Good luck with
We'll do our
that.
best.
There's Jan. All right, welcome, Jan. Let me know if you folks have any trouble with the audio. I want to make sure that it covers us well so that Jan has a good record to take the minutes from. And Jan, don't feel like you have to hang on for the duration if you're not feeling well. I hear you got the good stuff. Okay. Okay, nothing from guests, then let's jump right to Bob's highway report. You want a copy to read from? There you go.
We plowed and sanded roads, cold packs, holes. Replaced the road sign, East Valley, Burdick Road, Canary Drive, all sanded the shed. Equipment repair, and fixed brake shoes on the 210 Mac, put new U-bolt on the rear axles on the 10 Mac, truck inspection, new clutch brake, and 14 truck inspection. Had to take that to throughway springs to get new rear suspension work done. 16 5500 had to put new helper springs in it, truck inspection, tire rod ends. They put new LED lights on all over.
Okay. And you got, thanks, Bob. You got an update from Doug on the
So
Western
yeah,
Star.
he hit me the other day with an email. Truck is gonna get built in July. I just keep getting, things are getting bad. So we probably won't see the chassis until July.
It was the chassis.
chassis in July, so then it goes
That's
from
gonna
there
be in
to
September,
Viking.
being the truck here.
Yeah.
So we're looking just before snowfall, hopefully.
Just everybody's,
We started off in May, was it?
No, it was earlier than that.
yeah, something like
February.
It was,
Yeah.
yeah,
Just
Mark-
keep-
I think it was gonna be finished.
It was supposed to be here right now.
Right.
April, I was supposed to have it in April. It's going through, everybody's going through it.
How's that gonna mess you up this summer?
I just run 2 trucks and hope I can get help, which I will, so
Right.
I've already told people, so we'll have help.
okay. Yeah, Jamie's in the same shape with his Mac, isn't he? In Almond.
This truck's here, it's showing up.
Is it really?
He was in the same boat.
Huh,
So you could, like, some people could cancel out and then you could get shut.
yeah,
So,
okay.
you know, I meet with them Monday, so they're gonna be here Monday. Yeah, guys from Mustang Star.
You gonna bring the toy truck to get by with?
Yeah. Bring me one out to last, I can lose on
We
it.
That would be nice.
got pictures so you can go.
Okay, thanks, Bob. I can't think of anything else, but I might later for you, but I won't keep you here all night. Everybody got a copy of the minutes, the January minutes? Any questions, revisions? Okay, we have a motion to approve the January minutes. All right, Stephanie, second.
Second.
Jesse seconds. Any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Police report. I do not believe we received a police report unless it went to Dan and he didn't forward it on to me. Yeah, I definitely didn't see one, so. Do you know, Jim? Let's see, your meeting this month was, it's next week, okay. So he's probably putting it together still. Okay, so I expect we'll probably see one from Paul soon,
No, he
but,
just sent it to us today, so.
oh, yeah. Well, let me look.
Surprised you don't have it.
Let me see, he might have sent it. Does he send it from his Gmail or does he have a village account? Like a chief of police?
We're applying for a grant, and that's what he's not making wrong.
That's what he's what?
He did send me
It
the
wasn't
report.
the
I thought it was a report, but it's.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see one. Okay, well, we'll expect that to be coming soon. Mace. I don't see a report in the, oh, where is there? It is here, okay. Short and sweet, activities report from Mace, so. The 31st of July or January, working with Jason Krantz on building permit for new cabin on Green Road. I don't know anything about that, but if it's a cabin, I assume it's seasonal. You know anything about it? Okay,
That's what mine's got.
okay. And then Jeremy Roberts was issued a temporary CO for his house. Let's see, and I,
Here's the only be January, but we didn't get one in December, right?
did we get one late in, no, I guess we didn't get one in December.
They were trying to get this new software working and we didn't.
Yeah, and yeah, there wasn't any kind of an end of the year report from them.
No.
Okay, yeah, that's
The
a
only
good
reason I
point.
make note of that is because I know the amount will be in December and it hasn't been.
Oh. You under the radar.
So I don't know what else slipped through, if I slipped through.
Yeah, okay. I'll well, and I had asked Mace, I've emailed him.
I mean, like that.
Yeah. Let's see,
I thought
January
I'll send it in through.
14th. Okay, hold on, I've got an email here from Phil Stockton I don't think I saw. Somehow it slipped by me. But he's just talking about December was another good month for permits. Having permit fees greatly. Oh, okay, so here's a notable, I guess. Permit fees greatly exceeding budget projections allowed us to purchase another vehicle and hire a fourth CEO. Keeping operations in the black, so they're working now with four
Right.
four
Yeah,
guys.
that's a new guy.
But yeah, I don't see anything about December, so I can ask about that, as well as I had emailed them twice about the unified solar permit that we had talked a little bit about getting in. I haven't heard back, so I'll ask about both of those. All right.
Do they must send completed permits to the assessor? How does that work from there?
Yeah, the completed building permits, I think go to the either to the assessor or to Jan and then on to the assessor. Jan mentioned that last month. Yeah.
As long as they're getting
Confirm
through
that,
this.
I'm pretty sure.
Just making sure. how they do that.
Yeah, well, and speaking of the assessor, I can point out, related to the building permits. I talked with Bobby via email this last month and consulted with Jan on this a bit too, but I had a, you know, being a new supervisor, I felt I had a good good reason to check and touch base with Bobby and see how things were going with her. And her term is up. I think we were thinking it was this September. It's 25. So we do have some time, but she is, I reached out and just asked her how things were going from her perspective, and she said things are going well, and I said, okay, I just have a few questions sort of to bring me up to speed. I said, since COVID, the town's been, as have other towns of hers, have been okay with her working remotely. I said it would be our preference that you get some office hours in the town office again. I said, how about once a month to start? So she agreed to the last Wednesday of every month to be here in the office. And she was here on the last Wednesday of January. So that's good. I straightened up her desk for her a little bit and made sure that everything was still operational. And the other thing I asked was in a follow-up later on in the month, two things. I suggested that it would be nice for the board to have monthly reports from her, similar to what we get from Mace. I said, to give the board an understanding of all the good work you're doing. I intentionally framed it that way. This is not necessarily us coming down on you. We just would like to be informed on what's going on from the assessor's point of view every month. And secondly, what her schedule or work is these days in the field work realm. What is she doing? And I haven't seen a reply on those two questions as yet, but I was glad to see that, she made it work to come in. Jan spoke with her, and and the third question actually that I put out there was that I'd like to get her thoughts sometime soon on the equalization rate and what the prospect of a reval looks like in the future, and what her thoughts are on that. So I'll touch base with her. It's been a little over a week, I think, since I sent that. And I'll see what she has to say about those things. But if anybody can think of anything else you want to run by her, feel free to touch base with me, or, you're all board members, you can reach out to her directly by her emails on the website.
Yeah, getting info on the revals definitely.
Mhm.
I'd
You're
love to-
talking about the assessor.
Yes,
Yeah.
Definitely like to hear her perspective on that.
Yeah.
Before budget time.
yeah. So that's that. Let's see. Okay. Any thoughts or questions on anything building related or assessors related? Okay. The monthly report we did get. I don't know that it's. Yeah, I don't think Jenny had a chance to print it out, but let me see. I can probably bring it up here.
I saw Russ out doing street checks.
Did you?
Yep. he's out in
Okay.
Thunder Road.
Good.
Ooh,
Russ
oh,
Hall.
There's all. Yeah. Good.
I know him very well.
You say you do?
I know him.
Yeah, through the fire department. All right, let's see if I can make that readable. Let's see, Jan, if you're inclined to weigh in on anything here, go for it. If not, we'll look for anything red flags. I think all is in order. We cut checks for taxes at the end of the month, and everything was in good shape there. I don't have the exact number in front of me, but it was big dollars. And the levies covered. Let's see. Yeah, it's early in the year, so it should be in good shape. With that. Street contractual expense, debt, 75.
In the monthly report, everything should be good, because it's the first month of the year. So
Mhm.
the big thing is you can see all of the taxes have been received, so you're in full for your levy. So you don't have any more taxes coming, and that's all there. So you had talked about taking some of that money and putting it in New York class. So probably now would be the time to look at that, because you've
Yeah.
got plenty of money there that you could, get hold of them and see what be the best way to invest it.
Okay, thanks, Jan.
Yep.
Um, I think I got the contact information from somebody, from Jim or you, Jan, on the New York class.
I have it. If you need it, I can send it to you again.
Okay. I'll check into that and I'm sure I'll be touching base with you on it, but thanks for that reminder. Okay, taking the note for myself there. Okay, thanks, Jan. Anything else notable on the monthly report?
No, I think, like I said, it's just the first of, that's for January, so everything, we should be in good shape at this point. If not, we're in trouble.
Yeah, okay. All right, thanks, Jan. Let's see. Okay. And the bank statements come in as well. Let's see, Jan forwarded those all on to you folks.
Yeah.
And we can talk about the email situation in a couple minutes. Okay. Correspondence. I don't believe we have anything in our folders, and trying to think if I received anything that would qualify. I didn't typically.
I don't think there was any correspondence in there.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Jan. Okay, the only thing I guess I'd mention is you'll see it on the general abstract, but which we'll lead right into here. I corresponded with Jason Tutak throughout the month, for one, to get the emails set up. And then in going to update the website earlier this week for the meeting, I wasn't able to get to the admin page on the website, and I reached out to him, and we went back and forth. There was some stuff out of whack with the back end of the website. And long story short, it didn't result in an additional cost to us. At first, he said, well, I can sign you guys up for a package that includes, website maintenance stuff. And I thought, well, we've been hosted this now for 3+ years with Jason, and I haven't had a need for that. I don't know why we would now, but long story short, his crew will begin keeping an eye on things that need updating, and WordPress being,
Plugins and stuff.
yes, yeah. That's something that does take a little bit of housekeeping, and I just don't have the time or make the time to do it myself. So he's gonna do it, or his crew is gonna do it. And so between the email addresses that are $15 a month, and the $50 $50 a month for hosting. And then there's a once every 2 years registration fee that now we pay to him instead of Info Boulevard. All of it's going to him, and I think it's all in this month's abstracts, so the bills. And aside from what I can follow up with, if Dwight doesn't jump on, Dwight and Sean, that's all I had for correspondence. So yeah, let's jump over to the general abstract.
Is it big where we pay all the insurance and stuff?
Yeah, there's some big ones for the year. So the Direction Studios is stuff I just mentioned.
Mhm.
It came in 3 different invoices, but that's Jason's stuff.
And the rest of it.
For Steph and Jesse, the Williamson Law Book is an annual That's the town clerk software. She pays an annual license for that. Constellation and NICEAG, Armstrong Internet. Evans, that's a big tab for our insurance for I believe that's for the year.
What's the number 23, is it LED cutters?
Yeah.
Is that LED cutters? I don't know. Was that?
Oh, that's brand price, that's the lights for the loader.
Oh,
Okay,
So I took them from regular lights to LED lights, so that's a lot of big difference.
okay.
You can actually see.
Okay,
on the solar escrow,
yes.
I believe the Northland escrow started.
Jan touched on that today. The account is there, but not funded yet. I think it's on, the way this has worked with DRS is Dwight reaches out and says, we need some funds. And they respond. So I understand that to be, on him, but I don't know where that account stands balance wise. Like here's
Both of
yeah.
these are technically for that, right? Alfred Oaks is Northland.
Oh, yeah, it is. Labella, though. Why would Labella be charging us already for Alfred Oaks?
Those, and those are their third, I believe the third quarter bills, which we have not been reimbursed for any of that from the solar company yet.
Mhm.
So we don't have to pay anything until we receive the money. And Dwight and Labella know that. So they know that that's why they haven't been paid from us yet. As soon as the money comes in, we pay them. So the only reason I gave you those, so if for some reason the money comes in next week, we can go ahead and get them paid. You'll have
Okay,
approved those vouchers.
gotcha.
But we don't pay it until we receive the money.
Yeah, okay, thanks. So we can accept or approve the payment of the general abstract and just
These are coming.
approve this solar escrow account bills pending payment to the account. Does that make sense?
Yes, tentative until Northland pays us.
Yeah, okay. And yeah, I'm curious what Labella has done because I know they were beginning to review Dwight had suggested that Labella be looped in to begin their review of the Northland Alfred Oaks application. But that was just a few weeks ago, and I'm curious what their $1,884 bill is for, but
I don't know if the invoice is very clear on that or not, but it goes back a ways. If you look at the dates,
December.
so
Um,
I
big
think it
chunk
goes
of
back, I think he said third quarter.
Yeah, a big chunk of it was September when they participated in the battery storage discussion,
okay.
and then. Looks like it's mostly battery storage and then a little bit of road use. Agreement review.
That's in the hopper as well. Okay.
It was pretty much all in September and October.
Okay. All right. And it's all attached to the Northland, yeah, for the Alfred Oaks project. Okay. All right. Okay.
Paying bills.
Okay.
And payment for the escrow accounts, obviously.
Okay, so we've got a motion on the table for payment of the general fund with holding on the solar escrow bills until payment from Northland Power. Do we have a second? Stephanie seconds. All in favor, discussion? All in favor?
Thanks.
All right, passes, okay. Highway. See what Bob's been spending money on.
I just told you.
Now we see what all that stuff costs.
What's the rail equipment repair? Is that,
REL.
REL?
Yeah, it's the guy in Hartford. that does
oh,
it.
That was the helper strings.
okay,
But I can't do it, or I don't have time to do.
yep. Valley Fab, Napa. Beam. Okay. All right, looks pretty straightforward. Do we have a motion to pay the highway bills?
Pay the highway bills.
All right, Jesse moves. Do we have a second? Matthew seconds. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Mhm. All right. Okay, appointment to the boards. Matthew and I have been trying to shake some trees. Let me see, I wrote down who I had reached out to. And so to review the open seats, on the planning board. Currently on the board, we have Tim Cochran, Jerry Snyder, Sean Highland, and confirmed, a move from the ZBA to the planning board of Chris Beck. Is that right, Matthew?
That's correct.
Okay,
We have to just make it formal, but
right. Let's see, Jan, does that just require a motion tonight to approve appointment of Chris to the planning board?
Yes, you have to make a motion to appoint him and the term of his, what it would be.
Okay.
I can fill that in later and make sure it's right, because I
Okay.
think he'd be filling somebody's unexpired term.
right.
Yeah, we've got Fred Sinclair's 2 years remaining and Jason Whitwood's 1 year remaining.
Yeah, so whichever one you want to put him in.
Put him in the 2 year.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's do that real quick then. Do we have a motion to approve Chris Beck's appointment to the planning board to fill Fred Sinclair's term up 12/31/25?
So moved.
Matthew, second.
Second.
Jesse, seconds. Discussion.
He was eager to get involved more.
All right, good. Will he be chair?
He asked, he's like, so when's our next meeting? I said, I think that'll be up to you to decide.
We don't really have I mean, Tim's probably the longest running member at this point, but
Yeah,
okay. I'll reach out to the 4 of them then. Well, hopefully we'll get a fifth here soon, but
right.
all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, passed. So that leaves us with 1 spot remaining on the planning board to be filled. On the ZBA, now we have, so in place, we have Nelson Snyder, Joan Sinclair, Freddie Frederickson, and Bob Volk. And with Chris moving off, we need a person there. To fill Chris's term that's up in at the end of 2025, so that's a 2 year. And I've got some potential. Let me think of the people that I talked with. I guess only Josh McGraw is currently a maybe. So I can touch base with Josh again. I talked to them just, oh yeah,
It's moving off our board that was a great contributor. It's Kathy Benson when she moved up on the top.
yeah, all right, Matthew mentioned Kathy. Did you talk?
I didn't get to her yet. But I
Okay.
was gonna.
She's on our list, so thanks, Jim. Yeah.
Real bonus.
Okay. Yep. Okay, so Kathy's still on the list. I'll touch base with Josh. I reached out to, who did I touch base with? Well, we pretty well marked Alan Burdick and Judd Stearns off the list because they're, you know, they've served their time. I reached out to Peter Stull. I talked with him for about half an hour the other night, but he decided he can't do it right now. And gosh, there was some, oh, I reached out to, wasn't on my list here, but I reached out to Mark and Liz Owen, Zach Owen's parents. They live on Kenyon Road now. They've been to a couple meetings around the Kenyon Road, the Jericho Hill thing, and I thought maybe they'd be interested. No go, so. I think we're still down to the list that you and I have between us, Kathy, Josh. I don't know if you reached out to Jason or Jeremy.
Not yet.
I've been talking to Jeremy or Jason.
I know we had talked at the last meeting about whether village residents. And I thought I remember that one board they could and one they couldn't, and I couldn't remember what it was or if they were eligible for all of them.
Hmm.
And so I wanted to make sure what I was asking for before I reached out to them, because
Yeah.
obviously Jason's in the village.
Yes. I thought that they could serve on any of the boards, but could be
Okay.
wrong.
I couldn't remember for sure. So I didn't get that right. So who do
okay.
we currently have on assessment again?
Yeah, so
They have to be a resident of the town to serve on any of the planning or zoning boards, because the village has their own planning and zoning. So our zoning does not affect the village, so therefore they, excuse me, have to be a resident of the town.
Okay.
Okay.
What about for assessment?
same, I think she said.
Same.
Um,
Oh. I thought she said.
Board of
assessment.
Assessment Review, I think they can be from the village for that, because that involves the village. We
Right.
do the assessing for the village.
Okay, so you said planning and ZBA they cannot serve on? Okay. All right,
The most important ones to get filled are those ZBA, the Board of Assessment Review, because their training will be coming up. And if they don't do the training, they cannot sit on the board.
yeah,
Right.
4 hours per year.
So assessment, we currently
cumulative.
have,
So if you take more than 4, it goes forward.
yeah,
June, you have that training session at Houghton. And you can get 6
All
credits
year.
quick.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so currently on the Board of Assessment Review, we have Catherine Chambers, Norm Gross, and John Buckwalter. Brad's turn, Brad resigned to be on the town board, and Don Cameron passed. So we have those 2 seats open.
Okay.
And let's see, Kelby was the other one on the list. I don't know. Shoot, he was here the other day when I was here too, and I didn't even think to ask him.
okay, I
Um,
mentioned it to him and I think he was interested. I didn't want
Okay, I'm gonna reach out to him then, so that. Yeah. And,
And I think of the 3 boards, he was most interested in the assessment.
okay. Let's
You
see,
can hit people up on the village, on
On the
fill
assessment,
those positions as well. Right?
right. So I can reach out to
Jason,
Jason.
might be.
From the town, but
yeah. Okay, so you'll touch base with Jason, I'll touch base with Kelby, and I've also got Adam Weeks and Glenn Zweigert still on my list that I could reach out to. Okay, if we don't get anyone for the assessment board before the need, we have 3, so technically we have a quorum.
Yeah, as long as they all show up.
Yeah, okay,
That's been an issue in the past.
okay,
But I think if Bobby contacted them and told them that we're down, excuse me, we're down to 3 people, then I'm hoping that they will make sure they show up.
yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Well, we made a little bit of progress and we'll keep at it. If anybody thinks of anyone else, feel free to reach out. Anything more on the appointments list? Yeah. All right. Supervisors report. I think I can keep it fairly brief here, but I wanted to talk a little bit about. I'm burning the clock, just waiting for Dwight to join. Jim and I joined a call the other day, was it last week? With John Mayer from Southern Tier West. John was the one that came last year and talked to us, a few of us, about the some of the NYSERDA programs that town's eligible for, and the county. Kier was there on last week as well for the county. And so there's the Clean Energy Communities program that NYSERDA operates. John, through Southern Tier West, is our regional point person for those programs. And so he went through all the stuff that would apply to us. And in a nutshell, it's a point-driven system of programs. You amass points, and the more points you get, the more eligible you are for grant funds. You know, there's a table. I should have printed it out. I probably can't put my hands on it real quick, but basically, a lot of the things that we're either doing already or could do really easily would put us in the running for NYSERDA grants on the order of $10,000 to start with. So that could help if we wanted to with such things as the EV charging stations or other things. I don't know that they weren't matched. There was no match required with the grant. And I'm trying to think if John said, do you remember, Jim, if the grant funds, say you get your points and are eligible for that first bracket, the
Right.
$10,000, does the funding that you receive is it earmarked for particular things, or can you put it in your general fund? That
It's-
seems like a basic
I don't think
question.
he really explained that. It's just he really got into the points that you can accumulate, but he
Yeah.
never got into the.
Yeah, okay.
application.
So examples of things that we can do that I think are good anyway. And I meant to ask you, Jan, about this. I can't remember if NYSEG converted our streetlights to LEDs already or not.
I think they probably did it without, when they did our.
Well, if you
Uh-huh.
look at the bill, they
Yep.
just, I meant to point this out when you're looking at the abstracts. Our bill for streetlights went up to $700 and some dollars. I have no idea why, but we probably ought to look into that.
Holy
It's
mackerel.
usually like 100 something a month.
Yeah, they probably did that, and we had, our bill was huge.
Is the bill in there? Jeez, I'm glad you pointed that out. I didn't even notice that one.
Yeah, I meant to say something sooner because when that bill came, I looked at that and I thought, holy, what the heck?
Yeah,
So I
okay.
have no idea why it went up so much. That it doesn't even make sense.
I wonder if they threw in the cost of an upgrade or something.
I don't know, but that's the street light bill. It clearly says right on the bill for street lights.
Yeah, and that's way high. I mean,
Yeah.
I've got January here. See what we paid last time. Well, maybe I do.
Well, it's usually budget around 119,
119.
around there, yeah, when it's budgeted.
Okay, yeah, last month we paid
227
for streetlights.
for this bill.
Streetlights 113.89 last month, so yeah.
We really probably ought to look into that and find out what's going on. And then we can also find out if they got converted to the LED.
One LED and 6 regulars.
Does the total on that bill match this
No,
715.84?
no.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, 715.84.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't, 600 of that is budget billing.
Oh, oh, the budget billing stuff is screwy. I have that on my home, NYSEG bill as well. Trying to think, I don't think I can even explain it. I don't know how it's supposed to make your your bill more
Yeah,
consistent
so
throughout the year.
basically,
But,
they estimated wrong, and we're having to pick it all up right now, because they see the actual charges were 1957, and they've only billed us 1356.
yeah, so that's
So
the
we're picking
difference.
up the difference this month.
So the budget billing, I thought that when that happened, they would spread that out over the course of the year.
Apparently, they're only doing it in 12 month,
Something hit you the first of the year for it,
and they hit you for the difference with the last month.
in January.
Yeah.
Does that make sense, Jan? I mean, I can still call, or one of us
But
can
then
call.
why
Well, yeah, it
Yeah.
always used to be, it was a budget bill and it was, that much
Mhm.
every month. But then
Right.
they're showing this as the balanced budget bill. So they apparently
Mhm.
went back and looked what was actually used, and it's way more than what we were budgeted for. So now they're telling us we owe, what, 700 something?
600
part that
beyond.
Well,
doesn't-
that's what I
yeah.
was a little confused on. It's like, how come
Is why
if it's
was last
balanced
year's
budget, it should have evened out over the year?
Yep.
Because the monthly budget amount is supposed to be 113. And last month we had 227. So it's 2 months in a row, that-
14 months more
yeah,
for the last one, plus this.
yeah.
And so, yeah, we're talking like.
But anyway,
$600 more.
Looking at the
Mhm.
breakdown, there are 6 lamps that are 250 watt, regular, high pressure sodium, and 1 LED.
Hmm.
So the LED only used $5 worth of electric, and the 6 high pressure sodium used $60 worth.
Mhm. Yeah, the converting them to LED will definitely save some money there. Well, I'll check with NYSEG on that and, yeah, I can,
But that's so they're still saying that would have been $230. So where they picked 113 as a budget billing amount is,
I wonder if that's your new number for this year, it's 227.
no, because the 231 is the actual cost.
I can call and ask
Your
them.
new
I
plan
mean,
amount has been recalculated at 162 for the new year,
oh, okay.
beginning next month.
Well, Mark's point is a good one, the PSC did just approve the rate increases and they're significant, but we can look at the bill, the per kilowatt hour charges too from this month versus,
Right.
a month or two ago.
But it's definitely the catch up is the big,
Yeah. Um,
and what's the other bill?
other bill, well,
$4
we've got services for
here.
one meter here. I think there's a separate meter. Is there a separate meter in the cold storage building or something? Yeah. There's a
Oh,
couple different meters that
okay.
they separate the bills for.
That's what that was.
Um,
Yeah,
okay, well, that's something to check into. We can do that. So yeah, with the NYSERDA programs, converting the,
We might have like a rate increase plus catch up.
yeah, I mean, the 715 was catch up, and then it's gonna be up to 162.
yeah.
But we only
Um,
got 7 streetlights, so.
Mhm.
And 6 of them on high pressure sodium doesn't make any sense.
No,
I mean, depending on what the cost is to change them.
yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll see what they say.
$200 a light, then I don't know,
Mhm.
maybe somebody accidentally knocks them out.
You're talking what was it, $54 difference?
Yeah.
Per-
Well,
Per light or?
no,
per
total.
Total,
Oh,
but
for the
you know
month.
that by the time you have the delivery charge,
yeah.
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 so.
Yeah, adds up. Yeah, so that's one thing. The streetlights, that's 900 points. And let's see, to give you an idea of the scale of the point system, I think it's think it was 2,500 points or 3,000 points was the first bracket for the 10,000. So, 900 is a pretty good chunk of points. Another thing that I'd like to do, and I can talk with Jan about this, there's an Energy Star portfolio manager that municipalities are encouraged to put basic utility information into, and that way you can show, once you get a certain amount of historical data in there, they can, NYSERDA can audit that and see if you're trending up or down, and you get points for that.
For the audit, or if you're trending down?
Both. Yeah, I think that's how I understood it. The audit gives you some points, and then if you're trending down, there's points associated with that too.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, there's campaigns for heat
Turn up the
pumps
heat
and
now so we can turn
yeah, yeah. Start at high now. Yeah.
it down.
Our code enforcement, the fact that we work with Mace is an automatic 300 points because they're a consortium that, so things like that. So I'm gonna keep tabs on some of these things, and I'll keep you all posted. But if you have any questions on it, there was something else. Oh, code enforcement. No, that was the Mace. Yeah, can't remember if there's anything else, but and I owe you a call back to him about the GIS app. Because he's such a fast talker. Man, he was here, we had him on that call for an hour, and I had to jump, and he was just gonna keep talking. So, and I didn't have room to get anything in unless you throw the brakes on. So, yeah, I'll ask him about that, get that working for you. I think that's all I had for, well, let me see. We talked about Bobby's stuff. We talked about the website. Oh, emails. You want to see that, Jesse? Let me see if I can show you guys. Oh, I'll bring it up here in a second. All right. In the email from Jason that I forwarded on, the you can make it big enough you can read it. Jason's email. And I'll jump to it in a second. So this is the email I forwarded on to you guys, and has your temporary passwords and stuff. This is the login. And for Brad, Jan, I can get with him, since you folks are remote tonight, I can get with Brad and help him get it set up. But at the very top of the email that I forwarded on to everyone is the login. So that's where you go on your phone or on the computer. But so that brings you to this page. Let me log out so you can see it. Make it bigger. It's tiny.
It's at the phone, and you go to enlarge it, but it only enlarges a section, it won't fit it.
Really?
Yeah.
Is there not there's no app for it, like a mail app?
Anything. Oh, I looked, and so that's what I was trying to do, was trying to put it in my phone as my default mail apps, but it
Yeah.
kept saying not approved,
It wouldn't do it?
can't do it.
I'll try it. See what I can come up with.
Yeah.
Because right now I don't have it on my phone, but I was telling Jan, for me, it's not a big deal because I've had town email going to my fmccray@gmail forever. So I'm not worried about the whole, if I get foiled, I'm just gonna have to show, hand everything over. But I did want the supervisor account to be able to archive everything that comes and goes so that when my term finally ends, I can hand off that whole history to the next person and they can just change the password. Huh? Yeah, okay. So anyway, so I set mine up right away to forward everything that comes into this to my Gmail. So I'm not really concerned about having it on my phone because it's going to show up there by way of my Gmail. But for you guys that want to use it exclusively for your town business, I'll try and get it set up and if it doesn't, then I'm gonna give Jason a call and bug him about it. Cause
Yeah, 'cause
that's,
I did go to the app store and check to see, and they don't have apps for
Mhm.
this.
So
We use Rockspace as well.
yeah,
I had a terrible time with it. I had.
I mean, it should be a web provided mail system should give you server settings to be able to plug it into any mail app.
You would think, yeah.
That shouldn't be,
So, and then, so I found.
Shouldn't be a
I
big
found
or a tall order.
things When you clicked on the other one down below the setting it up, I followed all those promptings, and then it said, if you have this problem, reboot your phone, everything. I went through the whole thing, tried it all, and every single time,
No
I
go.
finally just said, contact your administrator.
okay,
Right.
yeah.
We switched over to Outlook,
Hmm,
but right now
Yeah.
I'm still using.
oh, the village uses Outlook email? Yeah.
It was easier and because the village bought into
You-
Microsoft 365.
Yeah, see, that was the problem here. I thought, well, Google or M365 would be cheaper, but you have to have a certain number of, you have to buy in at a certain level to get anything that's decent pricing. And Jason's doing $3
Yeah.
a mailbox per month, and that's cheaper than what I could get through Google. I didn't even check Microsoft, but
They said, as long as you have an account, you can have as many as you want.
Mhm. Yeah. But to get the organization set up in the first place is gonna cost something, and it's gonna be more than that. So. In any case, I think I can get you guys set up. I can't really show you the whole setup from start to finish because I've already signed myself in. But why don't you haven't, okay.
It was pretty easy.
Did you get yours set up on the computer at least? Or-
Well, no, I don't have it set. Well, I gotta figure that out, I guess, for setting it up on the computer, cause I haven't. So right now I just type it in and log in to the email. So I have to go to.
In a browser?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on your phone?
Yeah.
Oh, I bet
well,
that's
that doesn't
fun.
work. That doesn't work, 'cause
Okay.
like I said, I zoom in on it and it just goes in on one section.
'Cause it's in
and you can't-
frames.
And you can't move it.
Yeah, it's in frames here. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not real impressed with they should be
Isn't that
adapted.
isn't that kind of like the late 90s?
Yeah.
It's maybe early 2000s.
Yeah, right. Okay,
So, somewhere back there.
yeah. Well, yeah, sorry, that's been a bit of a hassle. The stuff, I'll reach out to Brad, Jan, and help get him set up. And maybe if we work through it with Brad on his phone. Well, no, I was gonna say I could work through it with him, but I'll work through it and get it working on my phone, and then I'll come see if I can make it work for Brad and see what I can give you, Jesse. And Steph, have you tried it at all anywhere on the?
No, and I will talk to my technical advisor.
Okay,
He's been very
have him
good.
reach out to me if he gets in a squirrely spot with it. Okay. What else is on my list here? We talked emails. The last but not least, and I just want to get it in the minutes, is toward the tail end of last year, Matthew, I think maybe it was you that brought it up, was having the board review the wireless law that the planning board put together for us. I didn't want to lose sight of that completely. They put a lot of time into it. And for you two, if you're not familiar, the planning board with, I think the bulk of the legwork was done by Fred Sinclair and Bill Daly. But they drafted with pulling bits and pieces from other laws. They drafted the town's wireless facilities law to use our power of home rule to oversee wireless facilities installed in the town.
Mhm.
So cell towers and but also WiMAX type equipment. We wouldn't have any purview over State College campus or anything like that, but it would give us some ability to at least review stuff that's going on
This
in
was for new installations, or would it be for upgrades of hardware and stuff?
It was intended to cover both, yeah, so that we can have eyes on these things,
And
so.
I did mention to both my dad and Chris that we'd love to have them look that over.
Yeah, I
also.
think that would be a good place to start or restart, would
Right.
just be to have the planning board take a look at it
Yeah.
and consider things that had maybe come through the channels since it was last talked about. And, yeah,
And then
okay.
for us to review it also. And then we can go from there.
Yeah, so let me just make a note.
Now, is that something you have to get through?
We don't have to, we can.
So it's not
This
any- anywhere near finalized, right?
It's- It's pretty good. Most of what they pulled was actually drafted by an attorney who specializes in
Mhm.
and wrote a law for the town of Woodstock. And they basically took that law and got his permission to use it again. And tried to just change out anything that was town specific. And that's where it's at right now. So basically, we need to review it and say, are there any things that we think maybe we want to do differently than what they did? Whether it's, setback distances, testing requirements. They broke out, there's 3 different, categories of changes and timelines for them. So looking at those timelines and making sure that we think they work for us.
Mhm.
You know, as far as like what they call shot clocks, like in this moment, then you have 45 or 60 or 90. So making sure that they apply where you want them to. And there's a few other things. It's a pretty extensive law. It's like 50 pages.
Well,
Mhm.
I think Fred had mentioned something about too, that there's also stuff in there talking about aiming or
Yeah.
how wide of an area
Yeah.
you're covering and everything.
Yeah, basically requiring them to use the minimum power and coverage necessary to achieve what they need to change. So, like I said, it's pretty well written. It's just making sure that it does what we want to do and that we understand how it works.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, so I think your suggestion is good, Matthew. I'll along with reaching out to the planning board, just to welcome Chris back to the board and suggest that they meet sometime and choose a chairperson.
Mhm.
And then I'll suggest if they're interested to review the wireless law and come to a board, maybe one of them come to a board meeting with some talking points if they,
Yeah, and I
they'd
think
like.
both my dad and Chris were willing to review that. I mentioned to them, so we just have to get it to them.
Okay, yeah, I've got a copy, so,
And then I'm
Yep.
sure, you know, Sean and Tim, wherever they're at,
yeah,
as far as involvement, so.
yeah. Okay. I'm not seeing Sean or Dwight tonight, so why don't I'm gonna message them both and say we're gonna wrap it up, and if they can both just provide us with some written, a quick written summary of where things are at, that'll suffice if everybody's okay with that.
Sounds good.
We can
You
get
got
out of here.
40
before
seconds, you
8
can start a new record.
I think Dan closed out at least a couple at 8 o'clock. That's where I'll leave that with regard to the solar stuff. I think we're in good shape as far as the timeline on things goes.
Right. Just be helpful in exactly
Man,
what-
Dwight and Sean are really on the ball. There was some back and forth between Sean and I and Brian Goodrich about the donation to the fire department that Sean is taken the lead on, so
Okay.
I have no concerns there
Have
either.
we had any updates from Sean on the DRS project?
No, I did speak with him briefly a couple of weeks ago. And he said, that he knew that Justin had had some struggles with things, that he, as far as he knew, he was working things out. I think we talked last month in the meeting here about, was it Brad or Jan maybe that brought up, a bit of a rumor or a speculation that there was some discontent with the contractor up there?
Heard a little bit, and I don't know. what
Okay.
details been.
In any case, I asked Sean if that, oh, there's Dwight. I asked Sean if that was the case, and he said he was not aware of any disgruntled contractors.
Okay.
So I don't think that sounded like there was anything to worry about there.
Hello, Dwight here.
Hey, Dwight.
Hello, Dwight. Thanks for
I'm
joining.
a little late. Sure.
That's okay. We were just about to wrap up, but that's all right. Thanks for jumping on.
Oh, no problem. How's everything in Alfred?
Pardon?
How's everything in Alfred?
Oh, it feels like April.
It does.
Yeah, no, things are good. Let's see, if you'd like, I guess all we were hoping for was just a quick summary of anything you thought would be relevant regarding
Sure.
Alfred Oaks Solar.
Particularly in
Um,
regards to the timeline, since they've got their complete application now.
Yeah. So I can give you a sense of the timeline, and any questions you have, happy to answer them. So I guess it was about 2 weeks ago, they got what's called a complete, their application was deemed complete. And that actually starts the clock on all the ORES requirements, because they actually have to make a decision on the application within a year after it's deemed complete. So the immediate timeline is within 60 days, ORES has to decide whether or not to issue a draft permit for the project. They probably will, so that'll put us into mid-March or so. That then triggers 60-day, at least a 60-day period. Usually it's like 60 days plus a week or so for formal public comment, though they'll take comments at any time. But it gives 60 days for the towns, the host communities, to put in what's called a local law compliance statement, which is essentially the project is supposed to comply with the local laws unless there's any proposed waiver of a local law requirement. So the town would put in that assessment. I think they've requested a couple waivers that you have consented to. They made certain design changes to, kind of work with the town, kind of meet the intent of the local law. And what is also due in 60 days is if there are any issues that the town wishes to have a hearing on before the judge, that would also be the time to do a petition for a hearing. Also around that same time, there'll be a public hearing, which is like a public statement hearing like you would have for like a zoning application or so, and I think Ian, they've approached you about a location for that.
Yes.
There'll be a stenographer, there'll be a judge, and anyone who wants to speak can participate in that, though written comments can be put in at any time. So if folks come up and say we want to put in comments on it, you can do so. It's on the website for the project, and if anyone asks how to do that, it's actually in the notice that the town got about the complete application. But if anybody has questions, I can I can write up a procedure how they can put the comments in written if they want. And then after that 60-day period, depending on what is submitted, there'd be a decision on whether there's going to be what's called an adjudicatory hearing before a judge. That decision's made within 30 days, so there we would be into about June. And then usually, depending on if there's any opposition or a hearing, if there's really no significant opposition, they might get their permit probably the end of the summer or so, early fall. If there is if there's a hearing and things like that need to occur, there has to be a decision on the permit by mid-January of next year. But the ones where it hasn't been a lot of issues because the developers worked them out in advance, usually it's maybe a total of 7 months or so between when it's deemed complete to when the whole thing is, the permit is issued. As far as things like the host agreement, the developer is still apparently drafting the actual agreement. They had sent us one a number of months ago around the time that the term sheet was agreed to. And they said they were going to revise it because I pointed it out. It actually wasn't consistent with what we had talked about. So I haven't heard from them yet. What they may be waiting for is, and I don't recall if we talked about this previously, but there had been a number of projects who had petitioned the Public Service Commission for an adjustment in the incentive payments that they get for the project. Essentially, for every megawatt hour of electricity they generate, they get a certain payment. It's called a renewable energy credit. And a number of projects, there were about 80 of them, had gotten their award. There's an auction for them every year that NYSERDA does.
Mhm.
And they had been awarded in the 2019-21 timeframe. And their petition essentially said inflation has been a lot different than they assumed in those bids, and they were looking for an inflation adjustment. That request got denied, but instead what they were going to do was do a fast track rebid for the number of megawatts associated with those projects, essentially. And I think that was the nature of that letter of,
Yes,
let's call it a letter of support that they were asking for.
right.
So those bids were going in the late January. I think they're supposed to be awarded, I think, by April or so. So it may be that they're going to wait and confirm that they get an award there before they actually sign on the dotted line for a host agreement. Because that'll just confirm their economics for the project. Because they had those in hand up until November, or they were hoping they had them in hand, and they, in essence, they didn't.
Mhm.
So I think that they really won't want to sign off on the host agreement probably until they formally get awarded there. From their standpoint, they don't need the signature. The payments wouldn't start until after the project is reaching commercial operation probably anyway, so it doesn't really impact you directly. That's why I think that's been on hold, because I've run into, I think of the various projects I'm involved with, I think almost all the other ones are also rebidding, and the ones that hadn't signed off on a host agreement yet, they're kind of like standing down until they get back to us, until they get their award. So that's where that part of it is. I think that's about it. Sean, I don't know if Sean is there or was there earlier. I think
No,
there
he's-
was sign off on an agreement with the fire department for some equipment needed to do emergency response for the project. So, I think there was a head nod there as far as that part of it, and that would be either the subject of a separate agreement, or we could put it into the host agreement.
Yeah, I'll confirm that with Sean. My understanding from a call with him a week or two ago, Dwight, was that he had followed up with Annie about the terms of the fire department's donation and They were
Okay, okay, yeah,
That's the
okay.
case.
Yeah, I mean, that's a matter of, I mean, the agreement in principle is there because they requested a fire code waiver with respect to certain access roads and such. And
Mhm.
the waiver was contingent upon providing the funding for the equipment. You know, it's essentially a utility vehicle side by side for it. So if they don't provide that, then they don't get their waiver and they spend a lot more money on access roads. So
Mhm.
it's in their interest to, you know, it's really just, you know, working out it should be routine as far as the actual written agreement for that.
Okay. All right.
So you know, any questions you have, I'd be happy to take them.
So is there anything we're?
One other thing, just because I know it's come up before, and then there, with respect to batteries, the state, they had so there were several battery fires in the state with respect to the energy storage systems.
Mm-hmm.
Last year there were 3, and so the governor actually convened a working group to study the fire code and building code requirements with respect to fire safety for the battery systems. They just released their report Tuesday, and they had recommendations for updating the building and fire code to address whatever shortfall there was. I haven't read it yet, but whatever shortfall was identified with those projects. So that's actually out for comment as a change to the fire and building code. I did forward it to Sean just so he could see it, and if he wants to put in comments. But just so you know, that is something that happened recently, and they are still proposing, at least theoretically, to put a battery in. I don't know if they actually will, but the permit they're asking for provides for one if they choose to do it in the end.
Okay. All right. Matthew, you have a question? That's great. Great update. Thank you, Dwight.
Oh, sure.
I think it covers anything I had on my mind. And if it doesn't, I'll go back and listen to the recording again.
Okay. You know my numbers. So.
Yes. All right.
All right. Well, and then thanks for sticking around for me to show up.
Oh, yeah.
Here.
Yeah, no problem. Sean said he was going to join late as well, but we're probably going to wrap it up, and I'll touch base with Sean. So
okay.
Good. The funding, the escrow account did come up earlier tonight. I assume that your contacts are where they need to be to check on that if funds need to be moved into the escrow account, or do we need to reach out to anyone to make sure that happens?
Well, I guess there's the local agency fund, which is what I've been submitting vouchers for ORAS to reimburse the town for that, and that's like the source as far as anything that I am billing. As far as Sean or Labella for that matter.
Or Labella. Yeah.
As far as Sean, I don't know if he's got any outstanding bills. He was the only one, I think, drawing from the escrow account that had been set up. So if that is depleted, I think, as I recall, the agreement, I think, had a provision where if it was below a certain amount, they would replenish on request unless we've topped out the max on it, in which case we could, ask them for more. So I guess it would be a question of, is there any outstanding bills for Sean and what the balance is in that escrow?
The current bills were just for you and Labella and both related to the Alfred.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So as I recall, there was those vouchers go into ORAS every quarter, and there was an October one where you hadn't been reimbursed yet, and I checked on it, and they said it should be coming imminently. So whenever what I would call the third quarter one, you get the money for that, and then that, gives you the funds for the invoices for LaBella and myself. Fourth quarter one went in, that package went in, I want to say a week and a half ago. Usually they take about 2 months, although last quarter they were a little slower. And so I would say that reimbursement from NYSERDA, you would be seeing that probably in March. And then, for whatever voices that are associated with that, then you have the funds to cover those at that point in time. So my bill, I don't know what your package is, LaBella. My bill is not due until you get reimbursed for more. So,
Okay.
Right, we just wanted to make sure that money was coming.
yeah, because I checked with them on the third quarter one. They made it sound like they were about to, that they were close to issuing that. They have a thing where it actually goes to ORES and they confirm that everything is allowable, and then they send it over to NYSERDA, and who knows what NYSERDA does. But NYSERDA actually has the fund, and so
Okay.
that's why it shows up as coming from NYSERDA. So you got 2 state agencies involved. So
Okay. Well,
it's
2
a
months is
remarkable
like
amount of
lightning
bureaucracy.
speed in state.
That is
Yeah.
super fast.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I've noticed when the budget's tight at the state level that they're a little slower on the reimbursement.
Yeah. Turn the spigot down a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That process makes sense though.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Dwight.
Oh, you're welcome. And any questions, let me know.
All right. Will do. Have a good night.
All right. You too. Take care.
Yep. Take care. All right, everybody.
Adjourn.
Do we have anything more to come before the board? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So we-
Matthew, second. Jesse, we're adjourned. Thanks, Jan. Hope you feel better.
Get back, and
You and Brad. And thanks, Mark, for jumping on. Have a good night.
Thanks all. Have a good night. I probably will not be in the office tomorrow, so.
That's- I think that's fine.
That's up.
Yeah,
I suggest that.
yeah. Good night.
Night.